You know anybody in your life so well that you can greet them by just going the bro nod. Me, I always say hello, but there are plenty of people who just can't even muster up the energy to do that. So they just do this. Anyway, I know you guys well enough where I can just go, I don't know. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to do something that the vast majority of you came to my channel for this, and I don't really do it anymore. And I'm actually going to go old school today and do what I originally used to do all the time. And I'm going to show records. Wow. Who saw that coming? I certainly didn't. But I was going through my collection yesterday and I had a Stereo MCs song in my head and I really needed to hear it, you know. Most of Stereo MC's catalog is on Apple Music, so it's really easy to find. But there were a couple of cuts that were not in Apple Music, and I knew I had them on vinyl, and so I just pulled out the whole stack. There's some stuff in this stack that I have other Stereo MC's records that aren't here. I don't know where they are, but I've got 20,000 records. I'm not going to go diving around in my archives looking for them, but I have a good stack here. It's mainly just the first three albums. The majority of the singles I got released from the first three albums, and that's their peak anyway, in my opinion. Not saying that their later stuff isn't good. In fact, I think Stereo MCs have never really had a bad spot. They always deliver the goods. Always really like this band. I've had a complicated history with these guys, a relatively complicated history with these guys. And so I will share that with you now. Thank you very much for watching this video, because I know I don't really show records anymore, and here I am doing it. My intro, well, I'll just show it. It's a very unexciting record, but the first thing I ever heard from Stereo MCs was this, Feels So Good. And I want to say this came out in 1988, although I can't remember, but I think it was 88, wasn't it? Maybe 89? It was a while ago. It feels so good. This is instrumental. You don't hear any Rob Birch rapping away on this one. It's just an instrumental cut. I didn't really know anything about them. It's an okay record. I picked this up at some point over the years. I don't really have intense memories of it one way or another. I actually used it for my hip hop sets. When I used to do hip hop sets a lot in the early 90s when I first started DJing. It was mainly techno and house and rave style music, but I would occasionally do hip hop because I loved hip hop. I hate modern hip hop. I think it's garbage. But at that point, in the early 90s, back when hip hop was still relatively dangerous and cool and punk rock and underground and exciting, I loved hip hop. I should do a video on some of my favorite hip hop bands. I just feel so out of date. All of the hip hop I talk about is from the 80s. That's the stuff I like. The new stuff, I don't even. Is that even hip hop anymore? It just sounds like watered down AI pop garbage to me. Just like all top 40 music, it's all AI garbage written by computers and, fakery all around. So I have no interest in hearing modern hip hop. I think it's shit. I don't even think it's hip hop. It's just garbage. But anyway, this is my intro to Stereo MCs. This very record feels so good. I don't know. It's fine. I mean, it's just kind of a instrumental breaks record. It's nothing to write home about. This actually, I'm trying to remember. I think this might have been the first time I heard stereo MCs with vocals with Rob Birch on them. I think this was the start of it, Lyrical Machine. This is from their first album. They released a few other singles from the first album. I don't have them here because they just weren't with this stack, but I know, unless my mind is totally failing me, they released What Is Soul as a 12-inch, and I know I have that. And they also released, oh God, there was another single I think from the first album, and I can't remember what it was. Um, oh God, what was it? Maybe that was it. I don't know. But I know What Is Soul. I don't have it here. I'm not sure where it is. I just don't have it with me. What Is Soul is a great song, but I heard this first. I think this is the first time I ever heard Rob B rapping. And this is totally unfair. I understand that, but as an American, it was tough for me in the late 80s. It was tough for me to listen to a pasty British white guy rap. You know what I mean? It just didn't resonate with me. I had this attitude like, hey, leave the rapping to the Americans. We've got it covered. So I think I judged this unfairly, obviously. But at that time, man, I was listening to Public Enemy and NWA and Eazy-E and, you know, Ice-T and Ghetto Boys. You know, like to me, that was hip hop. And to hear a pasty white guy from England rapping, it just sounded completely wrong to me. I'm like, whatever, guys. Thanks for trying, but no thanks. And so I'm pretty sure. Oh, that's right. There's a Bring It On remix on here. You get some mixes on here. You get Lyrical Machine, then on the mic and Bring It On. It's a cool 12-inch. I like it, but at the time I dismissed it. I was like, whatever, whatever, goofy, pasty British white guys. But we have it covered. Stop it with your quaint and cute little hip hop music coming from England. I judged it unfairly. And I think I got What Is Soul, the 12-inch for What Is Soul after that. And I remember walking into a record store actually, and they were playing What Is Soul. And that's what stopped me. I wish I had the record here. I don't have the 12-inch here, but What Is Soul is the one that kind of turned my head. It was like, oh wow, what is this? And then later, here in the US, this would get released. This is 334578. It also got released as the first album in the UK. This is the British press of the first album. This is the US version of the first album, but this is just an EP. They basically picked out 5 cuts from the album. They never released the full album in America. I don't know why. I think maybe 4th and Broadway, G Street, the label they were on. I think they probably didn't know what to do with stereo MCs either. This is a hard sell for American audiences. You understand what I'm saying? At that point, Americans just didn't really want to hear British guys doing rap and hip hop. It just didn't, it sounded weird. It sounded goofy. But I heard this very record. Again, it's a very truncated version of the album. It has 5 cuts. But 4th and Broadway basically took out the 5 best cuts on the album and put it on an EP. And this is it. These songs you get on here is What Is Soul, On 33, Bring It On, Neighborhood, and G Street. What Is Soul to this day, I think, arguably is the greatest song these guys ever did. Just a badass cut. And that's the song that turned my head. It was like, okay, I'm loving this. Like, I don't care how pasty and white and British these guys are. Like, this is really good. They were improving, you know, like each record I heard, it was getting better. And it was still kind of a slow burn because Rob Birch's vocals were very much focused on positivity, and I wasn't used to that as a kid. I was used to like hardcore, ghetto, guns firing type American rap music. That's what I was into, the fucking super dangerous shit. But then Rob Birch came from this other angle, from a different part of the world, and he had a message of positivity. And at first I kind of rejected it, but then when I was listening to the record, I'm like, okay, I get it. He's doing something different. He's coming from a different part of the world. He's got a different reality. Let him say what he has to say. And I also noticed he was really talented. with his rhymes. You know, they were really good. He was really good. He still is good. And the head, his beats and his music and his sampling and his scratching was excellent. To me, that's what put stereo MCs over the top. That's what made them better than most, is that their music was really good. Really good. They were good songwriters. Their samples were tight. The beats were tight. It was musically, it was very good. In fact, I would argue musically it was a step above most of the hip hop and rap I was hearing. And so to my ears, that's where they really sold me. It was like, this is working, man. I didn't think I'd like this, but I'm liking it. So this was a big head turner for me. The US version of 33, 45, 78. Get the old school promo stamp, you know. That's what the American labels did throughout the 80s. So many records have this promo stamp on them. Here are the labels. I'm just going to show this really quick. These all have the same labels. Fourth and Broadway in America, all their records look like this at the time. It's kind of generic Fourth and Broadway. I won't show you all the labels to all of these because they all look exactly the same. But there you go. Yeah, this changed my mind about stereo MCs. And then I made the effort to go track down the European, excuse me, the European album, which this was. And this has got all 5 of those songs that were on the US EP and then the rest of the album. This is a full album here. Never got released in the States, but still good. I highly recommend this. Very good record. They definitely plucked the 5 meatiest tracks off of this album, but there's still, like, every song's good. There's really no bad songs on here. My only gripe I've always had with this record is it's a pretty long album. Like, each side has almost a half an hour of music on it. So it just doesn't, it's on one record. So each side, it's just got too much music. It's all compressed, and you got to crank the volume up to get any kind of sound quality out of it. And even then, it doesn't sound great. It should have been a double album, but whatever. Yeah, this is, yeah, on 33, G Street Neighborhood, What is Soul, Bring It On, On the Mic, Back to the Future, Move, which is an older song that was on that original 12-inch. Here's the inner sleeve. I'll show the record. The European pressings look a little different. Here in America, you always have that Fourth and Broadway label. In Europe, you get some unique label action going on there. Anyway, I tracked this down after hearing that EP, and I was like, all right, I'm a fan. I'm officially a Stereo MCs fan. I never thought I would say it, but I do like these guys now. Bear with me as I take a half an hour to try to get this record back in its inner sleeve. But I was wrong, and I admit when I'm wrong. I unfairly maligned and judged Stereo MCs at the beginning. But I took a chance, picked this up at the time, and I really loved it. And I still like it. I just recorded it, so that's why I'm talking about the pressing, how the volume is so low. It's fresh in my mind. I just recorded it, and I had to crank all the levels up to get the volume out. But yeah, if you want this on vinyl, I think that's. Did they reissue that? I don't know. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. I have no clue. Then the second album came out. This was 1989, by the way. I was still in high school. And then the year I graduated from high school, 1990, they started pumping out a whole new slew of cuts. And I remember this was my intro to the second album. This is Lost in Music. This is the US version. The UK versions have different covers, and I have them all here. They were all in this stack of wax I pulled out. But this is the US version of Lost in Music. This was a big cut in America, especially on MTV. Those of you who watched MTV Raps and MTV, do you remember this cut? They used this song a lot in a lot of their promotions and their commercials and things. That very beginning where Rob B is going, ow, ow. That was heavily sampled. MTV used that in a lot of their commercials. This was a hard song to get away from here in America, Lost in Music. This was a big cut here. And it's a great song. And this US version, it basically kind of compiles all of the remixes that got spread around. You get the Ultimatum mix, which is Stereo MCs, by the way. That's their alter ego. They've done a lot of remixing work as Ultimatum. Basically, when they record things as Ultimatum, it's a slightly more dancey disco house sound, more of a club sound. Stereo MCs is more breaks and raps and cuts, and then Ultimatum is more disco and house and club tracks. Not that Stereo MCs couldn't be a club track, but Ultimatum is when they go full dance. So the house, this is one of the reasons, by the way, and I'll get into that in some of the later records here, but this is one of the reasons I've really loved Stereo MCs over the years, is that they are a hip-hop group, but they also embrace dance and club culture a lot. They started reflecting that on their remixes they had from their third album, and I'll point all those out. But yeah, they basically collated and collected 4 remixes here on this one, and they're all good. And then there's this one, Lost in Music USA mix, the oh-so exciting white generic cover with the 4th on Broadway label. USA mix, who did the USA mix? Was that Stereo MCs? Ultimatum, did they do it? USA mix is basically a much more dancey remix, way more club oriented than any of the other remixes. And then here's another one I had in my stack, Lost in Music. This is the UK version. I have a lot of Lost in Musics here. Like I said, I have more Stereo MCs hiding somewhere. This is just what was in the stack that I grabbed. Lost in Music UK. Then there's this, Lost in Music UK Remix 12-inch, which basically, I think it has an extra, yeah, it has an extra, the BB mix is the BB instrumental. You also get the instrumental here. The BB mix is on the US one. The instrumental one's only on this UK one. Whatever. Tons of remixes everywhere. I have lots of Lost in Music. And then here's Elevate My Mind. This is the 4th on Broadway US one. Another generic cover. This has Smokin' with the Mother Man on the B-side, which basically has Africa Bambaataa talking and preaching. That's all it is. It's just a beat and some samples and Africa Bambaataa preaching his word. No Rob B on this one. Great song, by the way. I think Smokin' with the Mother Man ended up on the digital versions. I was looking this stuff up on Apple Music, and I noticed it was part of the album, the digital album, and I think it might have been on the CD, but it was not on the vinyl, which is right here. Here's their second album, Supernatural. Excellent album. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. Here, I'll show that in a minute. There's the back. Supernatural. This came out in 1990, right? Yeah, 1990. Great album, man. After that 33, 45, 78. Sorry, I hear that Rob B rhyme in my head right now. 33, we're setting you free. I'm 45, I'm coming alive. I'm 78, suckers just can't wait, and it's live. And we ain't no fake. I mean, it's corny, but he means it, you know what I mean? And he's, I don't know, he's a pretty witty rapper. He comes up with some good rhymes, message of positivity. You can take that however far you want to go. Plus, he's just got a great tone. Like, his voice is cool. If you had if you had a different voice, it probably wouldn't work. But he's just got a great sounding voice, and it just works. A lot of times I listen to stereo MCs, and I think to myself, that shouldn't work. But it does work. Whatever that means. There's the head. Coming up with some new beats and rhymes right there. This is a very cool album. I'm a Believer. Okay, that's one of the 12 inches I don't have. That came out as a single. I do not have that here with me. Elevate My Mind, Lost in Music. Yeah, those were the singles from this. Yeah, I don't see Smokin' with the Mother Man on here. So, in fact, some of the best cuts on here are not the singles, like Two Horse Town. This cut right here. Great song, man. One of their best. Probably could have been a single, but it didn't have that big sound like the rest of their singles do. Stereo MCs are one of those bands where their best cuts tend to be hidden between the singles. You know, you have to listen to the whole album to really get the best stuff. And this, you know, I don't remember where I got this. This is an Ultimatum Breaks album EP. I couldn't figure out where this came from. I don't even remember where I got it, but I looked it up on Discogs, and this came as a freebie with a limited edition of the UK version of this album. But this is the US version. This never came with the US version, so I don't know where I got this. Because you had to buy the limited edition Supernatural LP to get this. So I'm guessing I probably stumbled across this at a record convention. Someone separated it from the Supernatural album, and I bought it. I think I only paid a few bucks for it. But when I saw this, and I found this relatively recently, like 10, 15 years ago, well after it had been released in 1990. So when I just looked it up and saw that it had originally been part of this, I combined the two. And it makes sense because a lot of the cuts and breaks and shit you hear from Ultimatum, this Breaks EP, you can tell it's from this era, so I keep it all together. Anyway, Supernatural, their second album, really good stuff. Top to bottom, I was a full-on fan at this point. This came out right when I was seriously, like, intensely getting into the rave scene. I started DJing for the first time, house, techno, electro. It was a lot of intensity. Lots of intense vibes going on at this time in my life. Tons of great music. My brain was starting to kind of drift over to house and techno. I didn't want to hear any more hip hop. You know what I'm saying? I always did listen to it here and there, but in the early 90s, man, my brain took off into rave land. And so, I don't know, this album came out at a weird time for me. I just wasn't wanting to hear this stuff. I liked the album, but I just wasn't into it because I just didn't want to hear this type of music. So when the third album came out and this single came out, this was the opening single from the third album, I wasn't expecting much. I just wasn't. But when I first heard Connected, I was like, Jesus, this is so cool. This is great, awesome stuff. Like, in my opinion, this is Stereo MCs at their absolute peak, man. This album, this is the 12-inch. Obviously, the third album is also called Connected, but this is the 12-inch that came before the album, Connected. This is the US version. You get the album version. You get a reprise, you get Disconnected, which is basically a dub, and then you get a B-side called Fever. And what a cut. Is it surprising that this is their most popular song? You listen to this song now, it still sounds good. It hasn't aged a day. Still sounds fresh, great vocals, great production. They were on top of their game here, man. They just kept getting better. I wasn't looking for this record when it came, when I was balls deep in my rave and techno and house and all that stuff. I wasn't looking for this. And then this came and it was like, oh man, this is sick. Rob B's voice is on top. He's on top of his game. His rhymes are on top of its game. The Head's music and production is on top of he's on top of his game. Everyone's on top of their game. God, great single. I mean, there's just no surprise to me that this song still gets fleeced because it never dies. It's a great song. This was the second single from the album, and someone who was way into the rave scene. Stereo MCs made a very, very wise decision and choice here. All of their singles got remixed by some of the best names at the time. This came out in 92, and Leftfield was cleaning up. Leftfield was just starting to kind of percolate. They hadn't put out Leftism yet. They hadn't put out Open Up yet. They were still kind of a progressive house thing, which they were at that time anyway. But The big song from Left Field at that point was Song of Life. You remember Song of Life? That was huge. Huge. And a great song. It absolutely deserved to be huge. To this day, an amazing song, Song of Life. And right at that same time, Stereo MCs put this out. And it had two Left Field mixes on the B side. And holy shit. Stereo MCs have never had a better remix than this first version, the one with the vocals. I think it's called Stereo Field Dub. Yeah. It says dub, but it's not a dub. It's got full vocals. It's also got the stereo dub instrumental, which is an instrumental. Usually dub means you dub the vocals out, but not here. They're thinking of that old school kind of, reggae roots music kind of approach to it, which Neil Barnes of Left Field has always done. But the three mixes on the A side are good. You get the extended mix. That mix is basically just like it's like the album version, but it has a couple of minutes tacked onto it. It's got like a trumpet solo, and it's a good mix. Very similar to the album mix, just a couple minutes longer. You get the trumpet version, and then you get the Ultimatum remix, which is like a dance version by Stereo MCs themselves. All good. Then you flip it over, and you got Left Field, and they crush. To this day, my favorite, well, there's an argument there. The next single I'm going to show, the remixes there are pretty incredible too. But the Left Field mix, the first one here, is so good, man. I was ripping this the other day. God, it still sounds good. And I have all the nostalgia and the memories, and oh my God, there's so many positive memories I have of the Left Field mix. The lyrics are kind of cheeseball, Rob B's, what's the, you can send a forget-me-not. It's like, his lyrics are pretty cheeseball. But again, he's dedicated to positivity. And he does so here. But pick this up for the Left Field mixes. And for some odd reason, like I noticed on Apple Music, they do have this stereo dub, the Left Field vocal mix, but it's edited. Like the one on Apple Music is like 5.5 minutes, but the original version is like 7 minutes. I don't know why they cut 1.5 minutes out of it. I was listening to the Apple Music one, and the intro is different. It's just different. Like, why would you mess with that? Leave it alone, man. Stop fucking around with my music. We grow up with certain versions in our head, and then they fuck with it. And they fuck with it in a worse way. They cut it up. They make it shorter. Come on, man. Don't mess with the music. Those of you who want to hear the full, unadulterated vocal remix of the Left Field mix of Step It Up, you need to get this UK 12-inch. It's not on the US 12-inch either. And it's not digital. So one of the best things he ever did is on this UK 12-inch. You want to get that. Now see here. This is the argument to the Left Field remix. You get my beloved brother Andy Weatherall on here with his Sabres of Paradise remixing everything. It was Ground Level. That was the track that they were pushing. But then you also get the Weatherall mixes of everything. I don't know if it was meant to be a split single or Weatherall just wanted to remix everything. How did that work? Does anybody know? He could have remixed Ground Level very easily, but I guess Weatherall liked everything better. And hey, that's a good thing because his remixes here are fucking brilliant, man. They are so good. This is the UK promo. This didn't get released in the US at all. I remember actually when I was a DJ and this came out in '93, I knew the rep at 4th and Broadway, and I knew this was out. I had read somewhere that Ground Level promo with Weatherall mixes was out, and I asked the label rep at 4th and Broadway, like, when are you putting Ground Level out, man? There's some Weatherall remixes, and she said, "Oh, we're not putting it out." I was like, "What?" "Yeah, we're done pushing the Connected album here in the United States. We're just not going to push it anymore." Why? So I don't know why. This never got released in the U.S. They released Step It Up and Connected here, but not this. They were done with the stereo MCs. I don't know why. To my knowledge, this didn't get any kind of release at all in the United States. So I remember when this came out, I had to struggle to get this. I didn't get it right away. But after a couple of weeks, after me calling labels and begging people to send it to me, I remember all at once I got like 4 copies of it. In fact, I think this one might still have. These usually had press sheets with them. Do I still have that? That'd be fun to show you guys. Oh yeah, here it is. I'll show you the labels here just of one record. Here you go. Ultimatum, Stereo MCs, they do their own remixes of Ground Level. That's basically the first disc, and then the second disc belongs to Weatherall. He does a vocal mix of everything, and then you flip it over and he does 2 gargantuan dub mixes that are just fucking brilliant. Some of Weatherall's best remixes, in my opinion. These have always been, all 3 of them too. All 3 of them have been way up there in terms of my favorite all-time Weatherall remixes. Here's the press sheet. I think people enjoy looking at stuff like this. When you got promos from the record label, they would send you these, and then they'd also send you a reaction sheet. They wanted to know what your reaction and opinion was, and then they wanted you to tell them what the audience's reaction and opinion was. And I usually sent those back because I felt like they were giving me free stuff, so I wanted them to continue to give me free stuff, and you did that by filling out the reaction sheets. So I don't see a reaction sheet here. I must have filled that out and sent it back. Anyway, I'll read this to you. Ground Level, released on February 8th, 1993. Oh my God. I'm old. Over 32 years ago. How is that possible? Oh my God. February 8th, 1993. That is the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life. Nice one to all of you who supported the Stereo's last single, Step It Up. Yet again, the boys are on form and are set to storm the charts with their latest single, Ground Level. Included in this double pack are excellent mixes of everything by Andy Weatherall. This is Tongy's Essential Tune and Mixmag's Tune of the Week. Tongy, that's Pete Tong, right? The big British DJ, Pete Tong. By the time you read this, their album Connected will be gold. Currently at number 2 in the national chart. This is how the mixes run, and then they list all the mixes. Reactions and charts ASAP to Gav and myself. Gav and Sarah. So yeah, I must have sent this back to them. The reaction sheet. That's how you got more promos. You had to play the game. I didn't always send them back, but I did notice, like, if I didn't send them back, a lot of times I'd never get more promos. So they wanted your participation. So I sent it back. Anyway, arguably the best single just because Weatherall's mixes are just stunning. They're epic. They're so good, man. The vocal version's good, but the real magic is on the 2 10-minute dub mixes. I mean, oh my God. So good. And then this was the 4th and final single from the 3rd album. This is Creation. Same, almost, I mean, it looks exactly the same sticker, white sleeve. In fact, I probably have a press sheet. Yep, I do. I'll read the press sheet for this. But this had a ton of remixes on it. You get Ultimatum, Stereo MCs are doing their thing. They remix the hell out of this. You get 2 Slam mixes. I was a huge Slam fan at the time, so that was exciting. Unfortunately, the Slam mixes are not great, in my opinion. They're okay, but then you get Justin Robertson, a.k.a. Lion Rock. Do you remember Lion Rock? Justin Robertson. And yeah, you get some Stereo MCs mixes. So yeah, it's a double pack loaded with remixes. Lots of fun to be had here. Here we go. Creation. I will show this to you. And I don't see a reaction sheet, so I must have returned that. I must have sent that in. I don't remember. Creation, released May 17th, 1993. Boy, they were really promoting the shit out of this album. It shows you how big it was, at least in the UK. The fourth single taken from the Stereo MC's gold album Connected is the absolutely awesome Creation. I don't know that I'd say that. Creation, I think, is the weak single of this album. I think there are other there are other songs on the album that were better than Creation, but Creation does have a big sound. I can see it as a single, but there were some songs on there that I thought were better on the album. You might think that the recent selection of Stereo singles has been wicked, and they have. This double pack features the hard work of the Slam Boys, Stuart and Ord, and Justin Robertson. There you go. Check out these remixes, and that's got them listed. From the pure heavy funk vibes of Stereo's own Ultimatum mixes, which is true. In fact, the best remix is the Ultimatum remix. They do a couple. New vocal 7-inch, Ultimatum mix, yeah. The Ultimatum mix is the best one out of all of them. Even better than Slam and Justin. I was never a huge Justin Robertson fan. I like some Lion Rock stuff, but his stuff, it didn't age well even then, and it definitely has not aged well now. I'm not looking to hear any Lion Rock, you know what I'm saying? Even though I have all of his records, I'm not looking to listen to them anytime soon. From the pure heavy funk vibes of Stereo's own Ultimatum mixes to the pounding techno of the Slam mixes, which is true, to the beefy funk of Justin Robertson's excellent Lion mix. Lion. They forgot the rock. It's Lion Rock, guys. Come on. Do your homework here. This record is going off. Full action necessary very soon. Reactions and charts to the usual ASAP. Yeah, so I definitely returned the reaction sheet, but the fourth and final single, Creation. The fourth and final single of this. Here's the album, Connected. You guys know this. Do I need to set this one up? We all know this album. This is their best album, right? This is the one we all know. There's an argument there, I know, but to me, this is definitely their best album. Peak Stereo MCs. I'm not saying anything they did after this is bad. In fact, I've liked everything these guys have ever done. I don't know that they've ever had a bad record. In fact, I was hoping to show Deep Down and Dirty. I have the album they put out after this, because there's a big stretch of time between this and Deep Down and Dirty. And I have that album, but it wasn't here in this stack, so I don't know. But a good album. You should check out Deep Down and Dirty. It came out as a triple pack, actually. It's 3 records. So they spread the tracks out. They gave the music time to breathe, and it's a good pressing. I would recommend you get it if you're into that album. But this is Connected like the 2 albums before it. This is a single record, so there's lots of music crammed onto each side, which means that it's compressed and it's hard to get a good sound. I was ripping this the other day, and it sounds fine, but it's just, you got to crank the volume. There's just so much music on each side. This is the original European release. I think they've reissued this. I seem to remember 10 years ago. Maybe not even 10, 5 to 10 years ago, they repressed this. I didn't pick it up. I didn't have any interest. I already have the original Euro version, so here it is. Yeah, I mean, there's not a weakness on this album. Here it is. You get 6 tracks on each side. Look at this lineup. Connected, Ground Level, Everything, Sketch. Great song. Fade Away. I think that would have been a better single than Creation, personally, but Fade Away is awesome. All Night Long is down-tempo, funky jam. This is a funky as hell album. Really good stuff. The music's great. Step It Up, probably the highest energy track on the whole album. There's Creation toward the end. You know, we know this record, right? This record just, it owned everything at the time. It was big here in the United States. I know it was huge in Europe. I mean, this is just a great album. They were firing on all cylinders. I'll show the I'll show you the insides of it because you guys like seeing stuff. This is the copy I picked up way back in 1992. I've been hauling this around for 33 years. Get the lyrics, 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 lyrics. Labels, 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 labels. One's yellow, one's orange. Boring labels. It's a good pressing. It suffers from having too much music on one side. I noticed when they reissued it, if I'm remembering this correctly, they reissued it as one album, which I thought was a mistake. But I think Universal owns these guys now, and Universal's reissues are garbage. No matter how many records they press an album on, they're always garbage, in my opinion. I've never bought a good Universal reissue. If you're looking for this album on vinyl, you want to go get this. You want to go get the original. Universal's represses are everyone I've ever heard, at least. Anyway, this is their peak, right? Connected. I've listened to these guys ever since, too. Deep Down and Dirty. All of their newer stuff. I mean, they've never really suffered. Everything they have put out has been really good. They just have a very unique sound, a unique approach. Their music production is a step above. I don't know. I'm a longtime fan. I've been following these guys for over 30 years now, man. Going on 40. I bought that first 12-inch in 1988. So, it's been a long ride with these guys. But yeah, I think this is their peak. This is when just everything came together. The singles around these were so awesome. Weatherall, Slam, Leftfield, Justin Robertson, stereo MCs themselves. They just were crushing with the remixes. It was a very good time to be a stereo MCs fan. 1993 and 92 were great years for these guys. And it was a lot of fun checking these guys out, collecting their singles, listening to the album. This is a very well-played album. But it was fun for me to pull these back out and revisit them and record them. And it's stereo MCs. The band that I initially unfairly judged for being, well, the guys at least, being pasty British white guys trying to do hip-hop. I just rejected that on principle alone. And then I let them into my heart. And I'm glad I did. Because these guys were really, really talented. I think this guy died, right? The drummer? Isn't he dead? I think he died. So you got the head. I think his name is Nick Hallam. Oh God, I'm sorry if I get that wrong. Is his name on here? Well, anyway, I think his name's Nick Hallam. And this is Rob Birch. We all know Rob Birch. Super talented guys. These guys keep crushing. Oh, also, I want to recommend one of my favorite DJ Kicks albums is the Stereo MCs one. There was a DJ Mix series back in the 90s, and I think it went into the 2000s. It was called DJ Kicks. Do you guys remember this? And these DJ Kicks series of albums would come out, and it was basically some famous person in a famous band would make a DJ mix. And there are some DJ Kicks albums that are just beautiful. They're so good. And one of the best ones ever is the Stereo MCs one. It's so good. There's another one by Daddy G from Massive Attack that's excellent, man. In fact, those two might be my favorite ones, the Stereo MCs and the Daddy G ones. Those are so good, man. Check them out if you can. I just wanted to throw that recommendation in there for you. But yeah, this is a group initially I didn't think I was going to like, but I ended up loving. And this is Connected. In my opinion, their best album. Stereo MCs. Check them out. Something tells me you've already checked them out many, many times. But super fun album. Immaculately produced. Filled with positive rhymes. I'm thinking, Rob Birch had some really funny lyrics. I don't know that he was trying to be funny, but what was, what was the song where he said, I don't give a hoot? You remember this? Was it 33, 45, 78? I don't give a hoot. I mean, I don't know. As an American who's used to like ghetto fucking NWA gangster rap of the 80s, to hear this guy come in to waltz in and say, I don't give a hoot, it was funny. Okay, it's funny. Maybe not to you Brits, but to us Americans, it's funny. But hey, it doesn't lessen his message at all. I'm glad these guys exist. I'm a big Stereo MCs fan, and I'm glad that I pulled this stuff out of my archives. This might be my favorite just because Weatherall's on it. You guys know how I feel about Weatherall. If I had to pick a single that you have to have, it would either be this one or this one. Why not get them both? I don't think they're hard to find. Right here, man. If you get Connected, the album, you need to have these two to go with it. At least these two. Check these out. All right. I'm going to get out of here. I've been rambling for 45 minutes. Thanks for joining me. Have a good one. Goodbye.